I feel like last time when we stopped, we were on the verge of something. We didn't finish properly. We kind of like cut. So last time we were talking about the division, right? And the illusion of division. I think so. And I think we were talking about it because, you know, when you see the illusion of division, at least that's how I feel. When you see the illusion of division, in your seeing it, even in discussing, you become a whole in a way. Something else opens up and you can see it clearly. So I don't want to... Obviously, we can't talk about what we talked about last time, but it would be helpful if we kind of like just for 2 minutes look at it, right? And then maybe you'll also remember what you were going to ask. So we said last time that knowledge apparently is very important to us, right? And knowledge itself is very limited because it can never stop. You can always add more and more. And then it being limited creates a lot of conflict, both in ourselves and outside here, as a society as a whole. So this division is caused by that limited knowledge, the limited mind, which is the human mind. And that's why we have what we have here, kind of like of a twisted society. And it seems like the more we evolve, the more we are degrading. So last time, I think, as we were going through it, it seemed to me that a mind that is divisive can never be free because it's always fighting something. It's either fighting itself or fighting other people, but it can never be free, which means it's always distorted in a way because it's fighting, you know, it can't see things clearly. You know, for instance, when you're scared, you can't see things clearly. You project a lot of unnecessary things. So it's important, I feel, for a man to be free. Free from everything, free from his knowledge. As I told you right now, I was invited in a church.
Yeah, very interesting.
Yeah. And I told you, the beauty of the church, it's so beautiful. When you get in a church, first of all, the fact that so many people gather for one cause. So you see, they're already trying to remove that division unconsciously without even knowing. People are uniting. And then they all have a certain mindset already. They have the same knowledge, which is the Bible. I went in a Christian church, in case you're wondering. So that is very beautiful. When you get in, when you step in it, you can really feel the atmosphere. And people have the anticipation, you know? It's almost as if they leave their problems at the door.
Is it?
Yeah. They're walking into a sacred place, and God definitely will do some miracle. But, you know, as I was looking around, especially the people close to me, it seems like they already came with, they know what they need, they know how they can get it, and they know what to get, right? So there's nothing new in that whole scenario, in that whole
equation.
There's nothing new. Means I need money, for instance. I'm going to God, who I know already. All right? And then He will give me money. So anything that you're doing there is old. There's nothing new in there. Right? And it's basically, it means you are repeating. Tomorrow you might come not for money, but you might come for you want a child. Tomorrow you might come for I need to stop being jealous, for instance. You come to pray to God. You come to beg. But I just feel like it's so limited in the sense that there's nothing new in there. And what they're trying to get at is all the time new. I don't know if I make sense. Sorry, my flu is disturbing me a little bit.
No, it's okay.
Because at least the way I see it, right? What's important isn't what you know, where you need to get at. That is all the time. You know, the joy of life in itself is, you know, discovering, living, basically living. Anything showing us that the joy of life is, you know, discovering, moving forward, and so on. Literally, your cells right now are dying. You're renewing them all the time. You're moving, you know, you're living. So when you have a mindset of, I'm stuck with this knowledge, there's no way around it, and I'm going to, you know, move around that same knowledge forever and ever and give it to my kids, and my kids give it to my other kids. I feel like really you're creating another division that will make sure you can never get to what you may be trying to get to unconsciously. So as I was looking at all these people praying, begging, you know, and they have glimpses of joy in that too. But mostly it's fighting, you know, begging for something, which means they're hurting. Hoping for something, which again means they're hurting somewhere. And then occasionally they see the beauty of the whole thing, which is what I saw as I was walking in the church. The beauty of life itself, the fact that all these people have gathered, doing the same thing. You know, the singing itself, when the ladies were singing, it's the most beautiful thing in the world, really. The kids, on the other hand, because they put them on the little corner there. I think one day I'm going to go to the kids section to see how they're corrupting them a little bit. But you see, those glimpses of joy they had, to me at least, I feel like it was the only time actually they were in touch with whatever that they think, you know, they're praying to. And for that, you don't need to go to a church. By the beach, in your living room, or us here in the studio, if you just look, you stay quiet for a second, the thing is always there, you know. So I feel like the way we live, society in general, we are stuck in something that perhaps we're not aware of. And we've been begging, we've been searching, seeking for an eternity. Not just, the way I see it, it isn't that it started when man started thinking, or when Eve ate the apple, or when Satan betrayed God. This thing started since the dawn of time. This, let me call it the trap. And I feel like that's what people are trying to escape from by going to churches, by making art, you know, finding the new all the time, by making new music, new genre. Human beings have been trying to escape from this since a very, very long time ago. And last time when we spoke, we finished our discussion with, we were talking about death, if I'm not mistaken. I said, a man that has not learned to give up on all of that, his knowledge, at the last second, he cannot give it up. He will not go. Because that man is consumed by thoughts, which is knowledge. So, at the very last second, if that's what's been dominant in your whole life, it means you will not let it go. Which means you're still here.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've never been anywhere else. Now, I've looked at this thing for so long, even though you don't really need to look at it for a very long time, it can be seen really in a day or even in a minute. It's a complete denial of time. But I've looked at it enough, try to understand, analyze, and this, and communicate with people. I've noticed there's a big problem. You find, first of all, not everyone has your time for it. You've taken your time, you come and you sit down, and you're willing to listen. Who knows, maybe you have your agenda too.
No, I am.
No, I'm not accusing you.
It's an interesting conversation, but yeah.
No, but you're human. If you have your agenda, go ahead, please. Try to go pursue it. I'm just putting it on the table, just in case you have it. You know, you're free to do it. But I've noticed very few people have this will, first of all, to sit down and, you know, even discuss, because they're still stuck in that pattern of, I know what I know, I know what I need, I don't have time to discover anything new. They're caught in it.
True.
Yeah. So the very second you start talking, they quickly interpret it according to what they know. The books, the whatever, they just interpret it. So communication is almost impossible with people like that. So those are very few people. Then the few that listen to this, they either take it intellectually, because as we're talking like this, we're using our knowledge, our rationale, our logic to make sense of what we're talking about. So that's on a very, it's on a very superficial level, the way I see it. It's nice, it's good. We have to start there, to be so logical, so rational, that when we get to the bottom there, because there's no rationality at all. So that when we get there, we know that, look, from the very beginning we were rational, we were logical, we were not involved in any illusion whatsoever. Which is why last time we were talking about knowledge. I wanted us to completely remove that, what you think you know, or what I think I know. No one knows anything. And then we got to that point, we felt that we discovered that there's a fear of something. When you get to a point where you feel like, okay, really, I do not know. Thought itself realizes its limitation, there's fear. So, when you get to that level, then it's no longer intellectual, because it cannot be thought about, it cannot be discussed. It's actual now. It's as much as it is happening in you, it is also happening in me. Then it means we've gotten to a level. You might be sitting there, I'm sitting here, but we've walked up to a level where now there's no one to open the door for anyone, but we are looking at the same thing, right? So very few people get there, to that level, or where it's no longer the intellect. Now you have to face the thing actually. The mind itself is really, you know, it is not imagining something. It has seen its own limitation, its imaginations and so on. Now it is faced with pure truth, which is very scary, as we discovered last time. But it's willing to stay there. I've had this discussion with a couple of people. They feel that I have gotten that far. I find we have a problem.
Why?
The first one is that fear itself, right? Because for the first time the mind meets something that it cannot overcome. It meets the ultimate unknown, right? Which means the mind itself becomes the ultimate unknown, right? So they're completely lost, because they've lived in I know, right? In our discussions here with Callum, you know, that's what we know on a day-to-day basis, in our jobs, you know, going to work and so on. But from moment to moment, that glimpse, that clarity comes to them, right? And then they feel like they can never, first of all, they can never explain that unknown, because it is the unknown. And second of all, they can't live the whole life with that immensity itself. You know, when you meet, you've seen something, you can't pretend not to see it. Because the mind, you see, when the mind sees something that big, it won't let it go.
Yeah.
You might try to escape left and right, but from time to time, it hits you. Right? So that's the kind of problem I have, in the sense that now I feel responsible for the people, because I've also been through that. When I saw that for the first time, it was so immense. That's the first time you feel like you're alone, really. You're alone in this world. There's no one who's going to hold your hand, encourage you to say, no, you're doing very well. Or remind you that, no, what you're doing is not wrong. You are faced with yourself 24/7. And that's the most terrifying thing in the world. Because you see, as we grow up, your mom is always cuddling, your dad is giving you this, you know, teachers teaching you this and that. But here now you discover you are both the teacher and the student. You can't turn to anyone. Yeah. And that's very terrifying. So having gone through that, I feel it's my responsibility to still, you know, be around someone like that. Because it's heavy like that. You have to accompany them. But accompany them in a way that, you know, just let them know that I've been through this. I'm here, I'm still, I'm not running mad. I'm not naked in the streets. But I've been through that. So it gives them some courage as well, you know, that, okay, yeah, you know, he's gone through that and so on. And then the second thing, which is the biggest problem I've noticed, see, when you do this, right, when your mind goes that far, you find that reality is, this is not as solid as you think it is, right? In a way, reality is malleable. There's no, it's completely creative. It means, for instance, you discover that the idea you had of time isn't quite correct. It isn't a yesterday, today, and a tomorrow. It could be a tomorrow, today, and yesterday. So it's completely free. Your mind is not limited to this. Going forward, it can also go backward, for instance. Right? So that's just one example. There are many, many other things, and I think a lot of people, serious people that have gone through this, have been caught in that. Those tiny feet, those things that actually you discover that they're in human beings. You know, like telling tomorrow, seeing clearly what happened yesterday, time and space completely free, right? Communicating with someone to a level that is so deep that literally I am you, right? Which means your thoughts are mine. So people get caught in that. Now, when it starts happening to them, because that is so, those things have their own power, if I can put it like that. They have their own attraction. And if you fall in those, which most people do, then it's finished for you, completely done. You can't see the ultimate unknown. It's almost as if you abandon again. You were so close to that. And then almost as if you can literally smell the perfume of it. Just before you touch it, and now you get caught with the perfume, and you walk around sharing the perfume with everyone, you know, showing people that you have some very nice perfume. That is those are the most dangerous people in the world, the way I see it. There are very few, but they are really there. So what do you do now? Suppose, let's leave even these ones that actually, you know, they've had the courage enough to stay with that, and somehow they start discovering reality in, you know, as you discover truth, which is the ultimate unknown, reality becomes kind of like malleable. But That's a bit far. The ones that are not even willing to pass the intellectual stage of it, what makes them not move forward? Like stay with. Rationally, we do it, right?
Yeah.
We understand, we speak, it makes sense. But somehow nothing happens, somehow, just like I was reading a science book. Einstein tells me that E equal mc squared.
Mm-hmm.
I know it intellectually, they explain it in class, but I am not E equal mc squared, there's nothing that happens. So what makes them not move forward?
It's being comfortable. But also not being comfortable, it goes back to the power of belief, to when you put your mind to something, because the mind doesn't forget, the mind constantly reminds you of your belief. Hence, you walked into a church and you found people who were not shaken by the fact that each and every Sunday I will do the same thing. And by the way, they still do the same thing in their own homes. It continues just individually.
Yeah.
And then they gather again to do it as a mass collection. Then they divide. So it's the same monotonous thing that they do. But it's comforting to them to say, I am committed to something, and this means that I'm a highly reliable person. You get it? So because I'm a highly reliable person, then that means that I am confident. And if I am confident, then I live outside of fear. So all of these emotions, they're actually attached to each other. All of these behaviors are actually attached to each other. So if now you come and you say church is wrong, you're shaking so many emotions. The confidence, you're instilling fear, the commitment, the credibility. There's so much that you are going to wreck or cause instability to. And so people don't want that. So they will go out of their way to fight for their stability, fight for their belief, fight for their thoughts, and fight for them to still appear as reliable, responsible, accountable human beings. Yes. It's even worse if a person is an adult. So as an adult, now you're challenging my thought process. If I am 35 and I'm married with 4 kids, and you are questioning, Kisi now, you're questioning my thought process. So if you question my thought process, my wife automatically will be alarmed to say, hey, I've been married to this guy. Only to discover that no, actually, he's
I'm not safe.
Exactly, I'm not safe. You see, now the kids, I've been an example to tell my kids to say, when you walk out of that door and you go to school and you take the bus, this and this and this, and your teachers say, so you are messing up with the whole chain reaction and the whole system. And people will definitely have a problem with that. So would you rather change the way that you see life, your perception of it, and change those around you and admit that you were wrong? Or would you rather be so adamant in sticking to what you know? Even if deep down you know that this guy is making sense, will you go out of your way to prove him correct? Or will you rather say, I'm committed into believing whatever it is that I believe. I am committed in saying that I am comfortable believing what I believe. Whether it be at the end of the day it's going to kill me or derail me, or I'm never going to wake up to the actual truth and I will always succumb to the system. I don't care, but I am committed. So it goes back to commitment. I am committed in this system because it's a system that works.
Yeah.
It has worked for me. It has worked for my father, maybe. It has worked for my grandparents. It's working for the society that I'm in. Remember, also people are so committed in their ways of thinking because of the environments that they're in. So if you're in a suburban area and you all think alike, and you go to the same church and you do the same things and you shop in the same shopping mall, so you feel there's a sense of unity. And in that unity you feel comfortable and confident in whichever decisions that you make in your household, because everyone else is already making similar decisions. So now if you branch out, you're breaking away from the society, you're breaking away from your community and your environment, and now you're going to be different. One versus them. How are you going to defend yourself?
Outcast.
Exactly. How are you going to defend yourself? And so some people would rather not even entertain the idea of thinking different or explore the idea of thinking different and stick to what they know, because they themselves, again, self-esteem, do not have enough confidence or are not even sure of themselves to say, if tomorrow I were to change, would I be able to stand my ground into saying, why have I changed the way that I perceive the world, the way that I think and I view things, and I challenge my mind? Am I strong enough? Am I bold enough? Am I courageous enough to even challenge my own mind? Also, a lot of people, like with the example of church, it's people who are traumatized, people who are running away from their trauma. So they want to cover up the trauma in a belief. Like you said, they are hurt, which means there's a story behind. But instead of facing or confronting the story, they would rather hand it out to a spirit that they believe will come one day and overturn the reality and wipe it away and. So again, it goes back to people just saying, I would rather trust the unknown than fear the unknown. Because fearing the unknown, I don't know what's going to happen, but I can trust the unknown. You see, that's the funny thing. People fear the unknown, but easily trust the unknown. You see?
Yeah, they trust because they feel they know the unknown.
Yes, because they feel they know the unknown.
Yeah, but when you know that you don't know it, it's fear. You're scared now.
It's scary.
Yeah.
It's scary because if you say, have you ever seen the Holy Ghost or the Holy Spirit? No single person in that church, including the bishop or the pastor, can say, yes, I have seen him. He was wearing a blue shirt with black shoes. And no one has ever seen him. He speaks English or Afrikaans. No one knows. No one person knows. But they will all tell you that they have felt it.
Yeah, I felt it.
You see? That's how we...
So they don't inquire what is feeling. They just say, I felt it. They don't want to find out what it's feeling.
Yes, I felt it, and that is enough for me. It's the power of conviction. Even with the feeling, is it a spirit or it's a collection of energies?
Is it your thought that gave you a suggestion that was so quick?
Yes.
You didn't notice that it's your thought?
Yes. You see, a lot would need to be questioned because people conversate or come together through energies. So are we saying it's spirit or are we saying it's energies? So what is rising up? People's thoughts, people's energies, or what? Because people's energies are fueled by their thoughts. If we are all gathered together in one space and we all have the same positive thoughts, the energy is going to be different. It's like when you go to a funeral. The energy is very low because we're all thinking about the same thing. We're mourning, we're in death, and then we're grieving. But if you go to a church, the mood or the energy is lifted. If you go to a celebration or a party, the mood and the energy is very lifted. So if you were to ask them, is the Holy Ghost coming down right now and you can feel it, or are you feeding off each other's thoughts and each other's energies? Which is which? There's a very fine line to define the two. That's why I'm saying it's fear of the unknown, but being comfortable in trusting the unknown. There's a fine definition between the two.
But do they not? But they claim they know. They don't. They know. I mean, they know God is there.
Because of recollection of memories, we went through that.
Yeah, that's why. Because we said they don't want to accept that they don't know. And we said if you go so deep, you find out that you do not know.
Yes.
You lose yourself.
Yes.
Yeah. And then something else is there, which no one can talk about. We can't even think about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So it goes back to saying, do I destructure my mind until I get to a point of no thought, no
Yeah.
feeling, and I erase everything and I start on a blank canvas? Or do I continue with a full memory or a memory that is half full? And a lot of people will tell you that they would rather have memories.
Yeah, no, they can't give up on their memories.
No.
It's them, it's me.
Yes, my
memory
memories.
of when I was setting up my camera. Yeah. you can't take that away. So that's the problem I was saying, I guess. You see, I feel I'm stuck there.
Yeah.
You really can't do anything when it comes to someone like that. You can talk, and generally you have maybe like 2 seconds.
Mm.
You say something, and then, you have 2 seconds to put something in their mind. And then maybe you go one day, somehow life will make it so that they revolve around you without knowing. And then maybe, they become open and so on. Because they will hit a wall one day. They have to. It's life. We have to hit walls. It's about
But
hitting
some
a wall.
people, when they hit a wall, they don't even see that they're hitting a wall.
It means they haven't hit a good wall. Most of us never really hit a very good wall. If you feel you can stand up again and hit another one, then you're not hitting the right one.
No, but often with people, when they hit the wall, then they go back to the known unknown, to the fear of the unknown. So because I've hit the wall, I don't know why I've hit the wall, fear of the unknown.
Yeah.
So then I run to the unknown and I find comfort in the unknown, which is now again the spirit, to say, let me pray out to the spirit, or let me meditate, or let me do yoga, or let me walk on the beach to clear my thoughts. Some people will say that, to clear my thoughts I read the Bible. To clear my thoughts,
and they're right, because thought is the problem here. So they want
to calm them down. So they will do whatsoever. So that's what I'm saying. Even if they were to hit a wall, at the end of the day, they'll hit it, they'll calm their thoughts, and then they'll go back again. So
this is the pure essence of religion. You do something wrong, you come, you pray.
Or you ask for repentance. You go to a confessional, you speak to someone, and automatically you feel as though all that you've done wrong has been erased because I've spoken to you.
The next morning we go again. As long as you can repent honestly.
Yes. But what is repenting honestly?
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know what they mean by that. So that's a problem I have. And you see, personally, when I meet someone like that, I mean, you don't want to hear, you don't want to listen, fine, I'm not going to force you, say, go on with your business. But thing is, you cannot be... When you see suffering, you don't just sit. Intelligence says act. Compassion is there saying act. So you always come around, you try and so on, but you let them go. Then leave them. Those ones I think one day maybe. Then the few that listen, right? We talk. They get, they leave, they can see that, okay, what this man is talking about, actually even what myself I'm seeing here is not even intellectual. It seems to be on a level that I can't grab. Right? Which means you are very serious now, you are very attentive, you're listening, you're watching, you are doubting yourself every other second, because you don't want to be caught in any illusion. Right? Now, still, it is the perfume, but you can't. See, I'm always very hesitant in talking about experiences, things that happen.
Maybe you should.
Yeah, because I see the danger in that. The danger in someone can easily misinterpret it, right? Because they're already so caught in their own beliefs and their own, that they can easily... Projection. Projection. In a way, I'm not helping someone like that. I'm just enforcing what he already knows. But there's no way I can... If someone is serious, then, at some point I have to leave all my rationality and say, okay, look, what is this? So that's what I'm trying to do today, just get close to that. Because as we said, the unknown really, we can't talk about it. We can't. It's there. You leave the door open. If it comes, it comes. If it's not, you know, you don't call it. You have no power over it. You have no claim. You can cry and laugh. It's not there. If it's not there, it's not there. But it seems as the moment you've opened the door and you open it by being serious, by investigating in yourself, the perfume is already there. Then you start. Life has a totally different meaning now. I mean, let's take time, for example. If time as we know it, is movement, right? A linear movement. Yesterday we spoke, today we meet, tomorrow we'll part ways. That is clear and simple. Everything about life shows us that it's linear. Now, somehow you see that it's not linear. Actually, not, because remember you're doubting every other second. You will not accept any illusion. But somehow something happens so true, so real, because you are doubting it every second. It's showing yourself, it's literally shouting like, no, look at me. And then you discover that time is not linear. It's because you've come across something that is pure creation, which means it is not limited to how it is creating. So, for instance, us sitting here, we've done this for thousands and thousands of times. I'm not imagining it. Now just take my word for it. But perhaps one day, if you do get to see that, you know, I'd really want someone to explain me what that even looks like, what it means.
It's like deja vu, I think.
Yeah, it's like deja vu. See, deja vu, to me, if you have a deja vu, there's that uncertainty, right? It's like, okay, but I feel like I've been here.
Yeah.
This person even said this.
Yeah.
There's uncertainty. But suppose right now we're talking, right? And then you say, oh, no, man, you know, I've done this. There's no way this can be real. In fact, this is a dream.
Yeah.
Let me wake up.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, your alarm rings.
Yeah.
And you wake up.
Yeah.
Then you wake up and you say, oh, okay, so basically what is going to happen is I'm going to get to, you've seen what pure order is, creation at the deepest level, so you know what will happen. And then you come here, you live this moment, so which means as you're living it, you know that you've never left your dream. It's just, you know,
continuous.
Continuous in a way.
Yeah.
So, and then you see that, you realize that, good, the most important thing as it's happening is finding a person who is seeing that at the same time.
Yeah.
So as you're dreaming, for example, now here we're making up a movie literally. But as you're dreaming, your main purpose is to find someone who knows that the two of you are dreaming. That's all you're looking for. Of course, you go on with business, you work, there's work, school, family, you know, all these things that we're trying to do.
Yeah.
Video editing, let's stop wars, let's explore, all that. But at the back of your mind, you know that's my main purpose in this life, in this moment, is to find another person who is seeing exactly what I'm seeing.
That's very deep, actually.
Yeah. So, that's what I'm trying to do in a way. But rationally. So we start with rational because it cannot be if you come and you start imagining that you're delusional.
That's why you're going to pipe dreams.
Fairy
Fairy tales. So you're going to pipe dreams. Yes.
So it mustn't be a fairy tale. You must see that this is water. It's solid.
Yeah.
I've tested water.
Yeah.
I know what happens when I drink water.
Yeah.
So you start with very rationally, you go there, And then all you can do is take someone up to that level and put him there in front of the unknown. Which you know he or she will be scared completely.
Obviously.
So, am I staying there because I feel responsible, because I know how hard it's going to be for you, or am I staying there because I'm hoping that you can actually claim that wall and see yourself as, you know,
in your
as I'm
actual
seeing.
reality.
Yeah, in your actual reality.
Yeah.
And what would that mean, first of all? What would it mean for someone to know that this is there's never been a separate thing, like we were saying yesterday. We started first rationally and so on. And then now you move away from the intellectual. You actually see it. You know that this is me, space is me, I'm doing this. You start moving, literally jumping space to space, time to time. And you know it's pure, there's no question there. And then because there's no division, right? So what would it mean? I've always tried to understand what would it mean for you to see that, if it ever, because I know you can. First, if you see it, you can't come and tell me about it. I mean, we can have a discussion like this. You can try to describe that, but I know it's not that. You have to be it for you to know what it is, right?
Yeah.
But I would know. There's no way I wouldn't know. I would know exactly. Once that happened, I feel like once it happened to me, there's someone I've been talking to who went as far as we could get together, left him in front of the door, and then his realization, when I realized that he realized it, the whole thing collapsed.
How? You just found someone who perceives the world, your thoughts and your ideas, and has let go of fear and is willing to walk up to the door of the unknown and say, I'm willing to enter this room of complete unknowing and submerge myself into it.
He becomes the unknown.
Yes, and you become the unknown, and they're ready to commit to living a life that is not preconditioned. How does it then collapse? Because both of you have the same mindset.
Yeah, that's the thing. See, there as it was happening, right? And I can tell you it's not I'm being very serious, I'm being honest.
Yeah.
It's not my imagination, because as I told you, as you must have experienced last time, I was trying to see what is imagination itself, which means leave thoughts in its place.
Yeah.
For thought to see its own place and stay there. So it was not my imagination. It's as real as this is real, as it was happening. Which means it's as real as the two of us talking right now.
Yeah.
And then that realization happened. Let's say that realization happens to you. And I know that you're seeing it for the first time. Then the whole thing collapses. How do I put it? It collapses. I wake up.
Okay, I can understand why you'd say you're going to collapse, because from now onwards, because you're awake and you're very much aware, there's certain danger that comes with awareness. Sometimes when you are unaware, you do things effortlessly without thinking, and you are in the space of the unknown. But when you are aware, you're not in the absence of the unknown. So what you end up doing is it becomes something like a performance. I know there's an audience, but the lights are only shining on me, and the audience is sitting in the dark and watching me from the stage perspective. So I'm going to put out my best performance so that they believe the storyline. And in order for them to believe the storyline, I myself have to believe the storyline. So it becomes an act. I'm awake, he's awake. I'm well aware that he's awake, and he's well aware that I'm awake. So we start putting a performance for each other. I'll perform my best so that you can assume that I'm in my wokeness, and you do the same. And now we're unaware that we are now being preconditioned, but differently.
Yeah.
Not like other people who are still lost or oblivious to what is actually happening, but we are now preconditioning ourselves to what we feel is our newfound reality. There are people like that in the world. Some are monks, some live in Buddhist temples, and
I believe even these Christians, some of them.
Yes, some of them are traditional healers as well. Some of them are just spiritual people. They have no religious affiliation. They have no traditional affiliation, but they are spiritual people. They call themselves spiritual people because they are woke. They've seen the good and the bad of religion. They've seen the good and the bad of tradition. And so then they set themselves apart from the two. And then they've seen the good and the evil in the world, the system, the monopoly, the this, the that, the that. And then they set themselves apart by then calling themselves spiritual beings, because they are not affiliated with anything, but they are well aware of the government systems and the corruption. They are well aware of the wars. They are well aware of the black magic and the darkness. They are well aware that there is no Jesus Christ, and religion was just something that was bought to control the mind, and they feel they're better, so they put out their best performance to us, to make us see an example of what it could be like if we were to live a life that is like them or like-minded.
So why do they abandon us? I mean, the monks, why do they go hide in the caves?
Because they believe that they found the grand awakening. The grand awakening being when you get to your highest level of being, where you are able to remove yourself from your thoughts completely, where you are able to remove yourself from your emotions, where you are able to remove yourself from ego and from titles, and where you are able to completely remove yourself from earthly things, because they believe to be on earth in its actual essence is a sin, or it's an act.
But that's quite ridiculous. You deny all this beauty because you say it's a sin. That's ridiculous.
Well, that's what they believe in.
When I see that, right?
Yeah.
I can't even trust people like that. I mean, how can you say such a... I've seen there's a certain TV, a monk. He wanted to be so, reach enlightenment.
Yeah.
He went and castrated himself.
Yes.
Cut down his mile. So that's the most evil thing to do to yourself. You deny all that beauty because you want to reach your thoughts.
Wait.
Because look, I've see why I'm saying that, right? First, if you really see that's what happened, which means you are me.
Yes.
It's no longer, really you are me.
Yes.
You are those monks and so on. If you really see it, actually, you can... Space and time is no longer separate, it's there, right?
Yes, and they believe in the same thing, believe it or not.
They believe, or they see it?
Okay, maybe we say they believe, but for them, they live what we are talking about right now. We are having a discussion about it, but they feel as though they have tapped into it to a point where they do not need the pharmaceutical industry, because
that I get.
The mind can heal the body. They do not need psychologists, because your emotions and your thoughts are programmed, or they have been preconditioned. There is no such a thing as committing to a person, because love is a universal language. So they do not believe in marriage because of that. If I commit to you, then that means that I'm only pouring myself into you in terms of love, and that is impossible. I cannot commit to only loving you and only you, whereas I love trees, I love coffee, I love dogs, you need to allow me to be able to be free in love. There is freedom in love, and they do not believe in chaining love. But also they believe that we are all one beings, and to be tapped into the highest frequency. For you to be intimate with someone else, you are breaking that bondage. How, I don't know. But for them, you are breaking that bondage. To have children, you are breaking that bondage. To be with family sins. And because they sin and they've been preconditioned, and some of them have got trauma, some of their thoughts and their behaviors will start to rub off on you because you will be observing. So they remove themselves from the world into an isolated area because they cannot observe. And if they can't observe, then they cannot project and inhabit, because they feel that once you're spiritually clean, you cannot be in an environment that is not spiritually clean.
But you are the environment.
Yes, you are the environment, so you then create your own environment. For example, you'll find a temple at the top of a mountain.
They've given up.
How have they?
Can you go? Suppose you have kids, children. They're here. You go, you hide in a cave. I mean, then you haven't seen that it's your kids. I mean, there's no love there. It's like, give up on these people. They're too savage. Let me go.
Okay, I can't have this conversation anymore. Because I'm just going to laugh. No. They haven't given up. How have they given up?
Because they go and hide in caves. And
they still believe that they're serving society. They pray for us on a daily. They fast for us.
How can you save someone? You can't save. How can you save someone?
They tried saving you this morning.
Yeah. How can me save you? I can only take you as far as I can.
Yeah.
And then the rest you have to really do the work, But anyway, I was saying, let's leave them. I don't know the stories, the cavemen, the Christians, whatever.
But I'm telling you.
I wish I can talk maybe to one of them.
You'd have to go to a temple. Normal people are allowed to go to temples. And there are temples all over. There's temples in Johannesburg. And there's temples in...
I'm generally very scared of...
Of what?
Of even getting in touch with... anyone who's grouped himself into, a way of doing, a way of doing, whether it's in a church or a cult or, monastery, I'm generally very hesitant in going there because I see the danger in that. You might, as you're trying, probably maybe they've come very close. They're trying to correct a wrong, but in correcting, they're
creating other wrongs.
Which could be even fun. I mean, people imagine it's like generals having superpowers.
Yeah.
Imagine a soldier who could tell you tomorrow. That's a very, very evil person. So generally, I'm very careful with even. That's why I was saying I'm very hesitant in doing this, but. My point is, see, as you become unknown in a way, you discover these things.
Yeah.
They don't belong to anyone. They in everything, literally. They are all over there. It's like transparent sweets. You can just grab one and eat it.
Yeah.
So those are very small affairs. And people get caught in them. Who knows? Maybe I've seen some of those monks doing some really amazing things,
Yeah.
That to me seems very, very limited. The thing that I'm talking about, that unknown. So it's impossible for it to ever be divided because, as I was saying, when that happens, you see the illusion of division, the complete. And I know that you are seeing it, which means we are seeing it at the same moment. The whole thing completely collapses. And it translates itself into waking up.
Yeah.
Yeah, with all my memories already established, my past history, my future hopes, my, my uncertainties, all of that. But as you're waking up at the very, very bottom, you know exactly what is going on. So, I don't want to talk too personally, but you see, when you become comfortable with the unknown, you sleep inquiring and you wake up inquiring. There's never a break. So then what is happening? What is the point of this whole thing then? If it can never look at itself in a mirror, almost. Because that's my whole point as I was trying to do this. Not only because, see, when you discover how you are, when you get over your jealousy, your excessive ambition, your hatred, so it makes society a bit orderly. But that's very small. Okay, then maybe you find ways of healing, curing, doing this, correcting, which means every single thing can be corrected immediately. There's no time is not involved in the thing. Okay, fine, but that's very small. But my point is, for the mind to see itself, almost as if it's seeing itself in a mirror. Now, that happens, right? The mind reaches that point where it knows that every single thing here is me. It's my reflection, my doing. It's completely free. It knows its creation. And then you reach that point, another man, another being, it doesn't matter whether it's a dog or a cockroach or just this mic here. Realizing that it is me, there's a complete collapse. Then my question is, what is the point? Is that the point? Seeing itself and then doing it again?
No.
Starting all over?
No. I feel as though we get closer and closer to the door of the unknown so that we can unlearn. And when we unlearn, we become better versions of ourselves. And when we become better versions of ourselves, then there's self-preservation. Self-preservation because now you are conscious and aware of the world that surrounds you, and therefore you will not make decisions that you know are going to be harmful towards you, those around you, and the society that you live in, So it's not pointless, but it's more now for self-preservation and self-awareness, which is just an important
2 minutes.
an important aspect in life, because when we are not aware, we do a lot of harmful things.
That's
so
for sure.
A lot of people who are not aware are currently doing a lot of harmful things. For example, maybe the people at church spend 2 hours at church every Sunday worshiping the unknown that they are so comfortable in. But you might find that they've got deadlines on a Monday for work. And maybe there's a project that they could be doing with their kids, a school project. There's a book that they could be reading for self-enrichment. There's a dietary plan that they could be learning about to improve their health. Instead of praying for good health, you could be making better informed decisions about your health. Instead of praying God to fix your marriage, you could be meeting up with a divorce lawyer and saying, look, I tried. I really did try. So in that 2 hours of productivity where they're devoting themselves to the unknown because of fear of the unknown, they could just dive into the unknown, the fear,
and correct any wrong.
And correct any wrong. But when you get to the state of calm and awakening, you are afraid and scared like everyone else.
It's part of us.
It's part of us, but also in that fear you're able to overcome. And that's the beauty of it. You are curious about monks, but you fear the preconditioned mindset in which they've set for themselves, trying to correct what is happening in the world. And that is fine. But I'm sure if tomorrow you were to get a call that says, there's a certain monk that wants to do a podcast so that you can explore his thinking and his mind, you wouldn't turn that down. You would take that opportunity because you'd be like, I've always wondered, but I've always been scared. But now that the opportunity is coming up, let me take it and let me see how far and where it's going to take me. We are not afraid to be scared, to feel it and to overcome it. They would rather not even entertain the idea of being scared. That's where the problem is.
Because you see, when you reach there, your whole life is, I feel, is orderly. No, they're not in the sense that I don't do bad or whatever. You might do something, you won't redo it again, but basically, you just do what has to be done.
Yeah.
You see what has to be done.
Yes.
So that monk that's gonna call me.
Yeah.
I wake up, I know the monk is calling me to do this and that.
Yeah.
So I just follow that path.
Yeah.
So as human beings, then we are limited to that level.
Yes.
The best we can do is to follow order.
Yes.
Yeah. We follow order.
Yes.
Not control. By trying to, generally we're trying to control by hoping, despairing,
Yeah.
and so on. But if you see order, you just follow it.
Yes.
But then, of course, that's very limited. The mind, as people going to churches and the monks, no, it's fine, we can. Yeah. The people going to churches and whatever, even these ones making sacrifices and whatever, they just, they're trying to forcefully get to the ultimate unknown.
Yeah.
And of course, that has to create other problems.
Yeah.
But it's very, very interesting. I don't know. I hope one day you'll come to me and tell me what that thing is.
I don't think it's ever going to change because there's a minority of us that think this way. And
no, but okay, let's forget about them.
Yes.
But I'm just saying that thing itself, looking at itself, when it happens.
The solence of looking at yourself in actual realization without any preconditions.
No, that's I know you're already doing it. I mean, you're probably doing it before you even start. I saw from the very beginning we were almost on the same page. We were just maybe clearing up the debris. But I'm saying, seeing this thing as a mirror, I don't know how to. There's no words to describe that thing, and that's what it's asking for. I see the limitation, see that it's I can't possibly talk about it, but that's why it's banging at the door all the time, find a way.
Yeah.
It's like, seeing someone hurting you, your compassion is,
to say do
screaming,
something.
do something.
Yeah. Maybe there are no words and it hasn't come to you because, again, you operating from a clean canvas, a blank canvas. And the day you do find words, you'd have to ask yourself, am I still operating on a blank canvas, or is it now thoughts, stored memories?
Yeah.
So maybe it hasn't come to you in that way because it hasn't been stored memories as yet. You are just operating on a clean slate and taking everything as it comes, as you see it, and you're processing it for what it truly actually is. And maybe you're never going to find the words. And that is what you should find solace in. Never finding the words. You should find the solace in never finding the words.
But no. There must be a way.
What do you mean?
Because you see, as it's happening, right now, because you see what happens is, as we're talking, right? See, for instance, last time, we talk, I push you to a corner. Basically, I'm not pushing you, I'm putting myself to a corner.
Challenging yourself.
To a corner, And then when you get there, you see, in us talking here, it can never be realized. Because it can't be stored as memory.
Yeah.
But that's tiny moments there, which you would probably realize a second after as fear.
Yeah.
The whole thing has already happened.
Yeah.
So generally in your sleep, the thing you slow down time stops, comes to an end. And the whole thing is very, very clear. Right? And can I describe? No, it can't be described. It cannot.
It can't. And
Yeah.
I don't know why you keep fighting for it to be. Just let it be.
No, I'm not. It's not a. It's not that there's an urge. It's the beauty of it. You know, I suppose you had something that I've never seen. And I'm not saying you've never seen, but I'm just saying in your pocket. Maybe a sweet that I've never tasted. And, you know, I'm saying, my gosh, this sweet, you know, you can take it. But anyway, I think we're done here.
Yeah, we are.
Next time when we get the chance,
We'll go
we'll go
into
into
it.
it. Yeah.